Moving on to the next question. This is a question from 2018. Right to privacy is protected as an intrinsic part of right to life and personal liberty. Which of the following constitution provisions correctly and appropriately imply the above statements? Article 14 and provisions under the 42nd Amendment, Article 17 and the DPSPs, Article 21 and the freedoms guaranteed under Part 3, that is the fundamental rights, Article 24 and the provisions under 44th Amendment. Right to privacy is a repeated theme. At least 3 questions have appeared in the previous years. And if you recall the Puttaswamy judgment, the Puttaswamy judgment is also known as the Aadhaar case or the privacy judgment. And under this judgment, the Supreme Court said that right to privacy is a natural right for any person. It is so basic for the dignity and to lead a basic human life. And also, it also affects the liberty of the person that it has to be included under the right to life. It is very intrinsic to the basic human life. Hence, the court said right to privacy has to be a part of the right to life. And this right to privacy is not an absolute right. Just like any other right, it also has various reasonable restrictions, and the court will go for 3-tier test. The first being the law has to be legitimate, and the second test being the court will look at the aim of the law, whether the aim is reasonable or not. Ultimately, the court will look at the proportionality, whether the restrictions placed by the law are proportionate enough or not. So if that is satisfied, then the law can breach the privacy. Otherwise, law cannot breach the privacy. So coming back to our question, Article 14, if you recall, talks about the equality before the laws and equal protection of laws. So that is not related to right to privacy. Article 17 talks about abolition of untouchability. So hence that is also not the correct statement. 21, yes, indeed talks about right to life. Right to privacy is a part of life. So this is the correct answer. And again, Article 24 talks about the prohibition of employment of children in the factories and hazardous industries. So this is also wrong. So for this question, C is the correct answer. Moving on to the next question. This question is from 2021. Right to privacy is protected under which article of the Constitution of India? This is a repeated theme and a repeated question. You can see at least 3 questions in the previous year which have the same wordings on the right to privacy. So this theme becomes very important. Article 15, 19, 21 and 29. Under which of this is the right to privacy included in the Constitution? Now if you recall, what is there in Article 15? Article 15 talks about the prohibition of discrimination. So this is wrong. Article 19 is with respect to freedom. So that is also wrong. Article 21 is with respect to life. So right to privacy is a part of right to life. Right to privacy is a part of right to life declared as under the Puttaswamy judgment. And under Article 29, this will include the cultural rights of the minorities. So this is also wrong. So C is the correct answer. So if you recall the Puttaswamy judgment in 2017 in the case Puttaswamy versus Union of India and others, also known as the Aadhaar case, also known as the privacy judgment, the court declared that privacy is natural to a person. The right to privacy is so fundamental to the dignity and liberty of an individual that it has to be included under the right to life, which is included under Article 21. So the court also said it is essential for the personal liberty and dignity, and it is intrinsic to the basic human life. And this right to privacy is not absolute. It has certain reasonable restrictions. The court has given a 3-tier test wherein the law has to be legitimate, and if the law is legitimate, then they'll check the aim of the law, and ultimately it has to be proportionate. So once the act passes all these tests, that is the legitimacy of the law, the aim of the law, and whether the law is proportionate. Once it passes, then the law will be declared as valid even though it is breaching the privacy. So coming back to the question, the right to privacy is protected under Article 21, right to life. Let's move on to the next question now. Hello everyone, welcome to Neenv IAS. Students, we were discussing the polity previous year questions, and today's theme is preamble, fundamental duties, fundamental rights, and DPSPs. This theme is very important, and there have been numerous questions every year in the prelims examination. It's not just the themes that are repeated, sometimes even the questions are repeated word to word. So because of that, this theme is very important, and if one has clarity in this theme, it is very easy to answer the questions. You need not remember too much provisions like it is in the other chapters, but here the conceptual clarity is very important. So let us begin the discussion. This question is from 2024. Under which of the following articles of the Constitution of India has the Supreme Court of India placed the right to privacy? This is a repeated theme and also a repeated question. I think this is the third time this question has appeared. The same right to privacy question has appeared in the previous years. Under Article 15, Article 16, Article 19 and Article 21. So now we have to recall what are the relevant articles and what were the provisions in the Constitution. If you remember, right to equality starts from 14 to 18. So in 14 we have equality before the law and the equal protection of laws. In 15 we have the prohibition of discrimination based on race, religion, caste, etc. So we know that it is not 15. Again in 16 we have the equality of opportunities in terms of public employment. So that is also wrong. And 19 is right to freedom. That is also wrong. So ultimately right to privacy comes under the right to life, which is Article 21. So D is the correct answer. So this is how you answer the question in the exam. But for the learning purpose, let us look at the in-depth provisions. In the 27, Puttuswamy versus Union of India case, also known as the Aadhaar case. So when the government came up with the Aadhaar Act, Justice Puttuswamy, he filed a case saying that this Aadhaar Act is breaching the privacy of people. And this question is more important because recently Justice Puttuswamy passed away. So the court held that privacy is a part of a natural right, and it is very important for a person to lead a basic dignified right. And that is why the court declared that privacy is a part of the fundamental right of right to life. So right to life comes under Article 21. So privacy as a right is part of right to life. And privacy is a part of the essential personal liberty of a person and dignity, and it is very basic for the individual's life. The court also came up with certain restrictions on which this right to privacy can be breached upon by the state, and those limitations are, that is the legality. We have to see whether it is through the existence of a law. For example, in this Aadhaar case, is there a valid law which will breach the privacy? And if there is a law, and is there any legitimate state aim for it? Is there any legitimate purpose for which the law is brought? That will be looked upon by the court. Ultimately, the proportionality, the amount of privacy that you are going to breach, is it proportional to the objective of the law and the legality of the law? Does it serve the ultimate purpose? So all of these three tier test will be done by the court, and then they will say whether the law is valid or invalid. And that is how the court invalidated certain provisions of the Aadhaar Act, but ultimately upheld the remaining part of the Aadhaar Act because it passed the legality test and the legitimate state aim, and ultimately the proportionality test. And the right to dignity, it resides not just in Article 21 but also under Article 14, Article 19. So when we say right to dignity, it will impact the trinity of rights, that is the Article 14, 19 and 21. Now, over a period of time, various things have been included under the right to life. The court didn't come up on one day and said all these include in the right to life. Over a period of time, as the constitution got evolved through various court cases, the Supreme Court kept involving various rights into the right to life. And if you can see here, you can pause the video and read about various rights which are involved as a part of the Article 21. So this right to privacy, there was a question. Again, you can pause the video and you can read about all of these rights which are included as a part of right to life. So this right to marry a person of one's choice, this was also a previous year question. So now coming back to the question, ultimately, because it is not related to discrimination, it is not related to employment in the government sector, it is not related to right to freedom, it is under the right to life. Hence, privacy is the correct answer for this question. Let's move on to the next question now.